The HorrorNerd podcast uses language and talks about topics that may not be suitable for young ears. Viewer and listener discretion is advised, but the hosts are gonna completely ignore it.
Hi, I'm Alco, the HorrorNerd. When I'm not screaming behind the scenes, playing video game and freaking out or doing review, I'm running a podcast called the HorrorNerd that's with my co-host.
How hard hi today.
Really? Okay. Uh, so we're doing all kind of ridiculous things on our podcast. We got the Hear Me Out, you got all the cool stuff. You see it every time. But this time we are back with the lovely Brandon Clark, aka the Terrible Lady. And she is back for season 3.
Yes, yes. They drugged
How
me back
did
out
you
here for a
survive it?
third
I thought we
time.
killed you. We killed you. If
Ah,
you're wondering, what that topic means, you're about to find out right now. Right up now. Right now.
Right now.
Alright. Right now means right now. When I say right now, it means right now. Anyway, the
Okay,
topic is the fact that the 70, 80, and 90s Hoya, but a little bit of a Hoya history perspective. But we're gonna have a lot of fun with it. Who the hell are you calling Van Halen?
he just kept saying right now. Oh, you can't see
It's
that.
fun. Oh, so Bernie, you're here with us today. Uh, yeah, we got a little bit crazy behind the thing today. So, let's start with the 70s, the best of the 70s. What's your thought on 70s horror in general? What do you think could have been better? Or what do you like about it or didn't like about it? Go.
70s horror, why I like it so much is it's very gritty. It feels just like you're almost like a fly on the wall, like watching people like in these horrible situations. And you have a lot of the movies of the 70s, especially the very well-known ones, like the Texas Chainsaw Massacre and John Carpenter's Halloween, that laid the groundwork for a lot of the slashers of the 80s. So if you want to see where slashers got their start, then you're definitely going to want to go back to 70s horror. That's why, and also 70s horror had a lot of weird stuff in it. It's not one of my favorites, but on Tubi, I saw a 70s slasher. It was called Savage Weekend. And I was like, okay, well this looks
Oh,
interesting. There's like a death, like the specter of death, like on the cover, holding like a slash. Like, oh, this looks interesting. No, it forgot it was a horror movie and it was more like a softcore porn. So the 70s has some weird stuff. It
really?
also has some
Dark
really
core porn, you're gonna say it? Okay.
yeah. It's like so bait and switch there, but lots of gritty, grimy, almost like r real, had like a very realistic feeling like to it.
Alright. You know what? I had to pause for a minute though because I was like, wow, interesting take on that because you're talking about the viewer being a fly on the wall in a movie like that. I believe I put on your grade came out the 70s as well.
Yes.
So there's a lot of these movies, and so you look at that, you have to query, you have to exploit some situation that might be really uncomfortable for a lot of people, especially I put on your grade. See the stories and stuff like that started to develop, especially as we get into the 80s and you start learning why storytelling matters.
Yeah.
But what was the one thing you did not like about the 70s toy?
One thing I don't like about 70s horror is that sometimes I feel like it was just like getting its feet. Like it was in that decade, it was trying to figure out where the heck it wanted to go. So it was all over the place. You had those proto slashers, like again, the Texas Chainsaw Massacre, Halloween, Black Christmas. Then you had just like the really weird ones that almost felt experimental, like one in particular, The Visitor. It's an Italian horror film that came out, I think, in 78 or 79. It had Lance Henriksen in it, who we all know as
Right
Bishop
on the edge.
from
Yeah.
Aliens. So, but that was a freaking weird and just like, it's almost just like I don't know. Yeah, I guess if I'm going to categorize just like what I really don't like about 70s is just like, but then also it's a good thing is that the genre as a whole in the 70s was just trying to figure out where the heck it wanted to go, where it wanted to end up, where it wanted to be.
So when you say that, it was trying to figure out where it wanted to go, where it wanted to end up, and where it wanted to be. Will you say that a lot of it Japanese horror somehow influenced what might come out in the 90s?
I think definitely the 70s influenced a lot of the 80s, and then in turn, the 80s influenced a lot of the 90s. So the slasher boom, like everybody knows that the slasher boom of the 80s, that was directly influenced from the proto slashers of the 1970s. And then you had just like the slashers kind of dying down as a subgenre in like towards like maybe like the end of the 80s going into the 90s. And then you had the 80s directly influenced Scream, which I would say which came out in 1996. So then you had just that whole spark and just fresh wave of just like new, like what they like to call meta horror.
The
So it wasn't just
teenager, yeah.
yeah. Yeah, so it wasn't just slashers that were meta. It's just like you saw like the meta aspect come through in a lot of the horror of the 90s, and that was directly influenced by the 80s, which then the 80s was also directly influenced by the 70s.
Yeah, I don't know. It's funny you say that because we were just coming out of the 80s. Although Yanni was like 10 years older than me at that time, but we were just coming out of the 80s. And I remember my older brother saying something to me in the early 90s, saying something about how maybe perhaps some of those slasher films you're talking about, especially at the end of the 80s with child play and stuff like that, were give birth to a franchise or the idea of a franchise. But when we get through the 80s, we had so many of Nightmare on Elm Street or whatever.
Yeah.
Where do you think, or when do you think, and what year, that horror icon started coming out and what called the franchise now? Like,
Oh,
where do we start calling it a franchise at this point?
um, well, you start calling it, I'd say you start calling it a franchise, and anything a franchise by the time it hits its third film. Because if it's a second film, it's just going to be a sequel. And if it goes on to a third film, it's just like, okay, now we're starting to like build like the groundwork for all these franchises. So, for instance, you mentioned Nightmare on Elm Street. Like, I feel that Freddy was already iconic, like the minute that Nightmare on Elm Street came out, just like the very
Right.
like instant. And then the franchise took they took an interesting direction with Nightmare on Elm Street too. And that's a movie I had to learn to appreciate over time. I like it a lot better now than I did whenever I first watched it. And then you had the kick-ass Dream Warriors that came out right after that. I
That was
love
number
that.
three.
I love that. And then it started going into things like the Dream Child and whatever I forget like if the fourth one's the Dream Child I think the fifth one was the Dream Child.
Yeah, I
But it
think
was just
so.
like Dream something. I forget the name of the fourth one. I can't remember off the top of my head. But yeah, so I'd say anytime a series of horror films gets to the third one, you're starting to venture into franchise territory.
Yeah, but why call it franchise after the third film? Especially if many people had an idea that just done was done by the third film. You know, why not to call it a trilogy? And then franchise later, if you decide to bring it back and continue the story. That's what a lot of people don't get. That, you have 3 films for a while, and then you're done making them, and then all of a sudden you come back. And that was a little bit confusing for a lot of people, especially on terminology. So what do you think about that?
Yeah, I think probably a part of the reason for a lot of the confusion surrounding franchises is that they don't really have just one cohesive arc, like or story. So you have Nightmare on Elm Street, like every one of the films just like is a little bit all over the place, even though the first one, and the third one are connected, the fourth and the fifth one are connected, but in general they're just like all over the place, especially also with Friday the 13th. You had the first one that was connected to the second one, which then was connected to the
Yeah,
third
the
one.
mother and Jason later, right?
Yeah, and then it just kind of went off through the rails. I think after like a little bit
And
like
then we found out
maybe
we have family member. Okay.
yeah, and then Texas Chainsaw Massacre franchise all over the place. It's like where the hell did all these like Sawyers like come from? Like first there were 3, and then there were like 20, and then there were just so who knows? So I say just like with
Yeah, nobody
yeah,
knew we had that many family members
yeah,
until
just
like
like
much later when we got to Tattoo Chainsaw 3D.
yeah, it's just like so I think just a part of it as I don't think franchises are necessarily planned. I think studios see just the success of a lot of these movies like, oh, we just need to keep making more. People love them. They're comfortable. They're familiar with them. So that's why they don't really have these cohesive arcs. Now, the one exception would probably have to be what's it's now varying into a franchise, the Terrifier franchise. This is a little bit more recent, but Damien Leone had already had an idea for a cohesive arc going from 1 to 4, which 4 is going to most likely be the last
I
one.
would actually argue that, and I think this is going to start becoming the argument in
Now go
modern
ahead.
film, is the difference between a franchise and a universe. And I would almost say Terrifier would qualify as a universe, not a franchise, simply because of the cohesive
Interesting.
arc.
Why is that?
Well, because it's got a cohesive arc. It's a story, and it stays within itself. Basically, all 4 films are going to stay within themselves. Like you get, like all the Avenger movies, they stay within themselves. I mean, you'll see people pop up even in the solo
And I
movie.
put credit then right.
Yeah. So I think, if to me a franchise is more non-linear. I guess would that be the right word? Maybe I'm just throwing around
Yeah,
words.
yeah, non-linear.
Yeah.
Okay.
And
That's what Tyler wanted because there
yeah,
was a
in a
quite a
universe
few different story to tell on that one.
I would almost argue Saw might be a universe too. Because everything kind of ties back into John. You know what I mean? Everything because
Yeah, it all goes back to
yeah,
John.
you're either a victim of John or you're an acolyte of John. Because I just wrote this a couple weeks ago on Substack about how the game, when it comes to Saw, you have already lost the game before you have started playing. You cannot win. And that is, if you survive your test, what happens to everybody who survives?
They end up as like acolytes of
The light of John.
Yeah,
Or they
absolutely.
ended up the table or whatever,
No, I mean all of
the
them.
very, very few survivors that the table, but yeah.
Yeah, even Dr. Gordon ended up as one of his John's flunkies. And just like that's the one I never expected. I was like, what are you doing? That's a little like side note there. But like, what the hell are you doing, Dr. Gordon? You went through all this shit. Now you're just gonna be pretty much errand boy for a serial killer.
Which proves
But
well, and basically that's what I was meaning by you've already lost, because you've proven John right either way. If you think about it, because if you die,
the third choice.
yeah, well, no, there is no third choice, because if you die, you just didn't appreciate life. You just gave up. And if you live, you've proven his point. So I think we're probably going to see the throw around, like I guess getting back to the original point I was going to make. I think you're going to see the word universe even come into horror, and that be thrown around a lot.
You're about to talk about that, like what they're trying to do. Yeah.
Yeah, like the Pooh-niverse, which is like basically just the whole just like the Winnie the Pooh slasher and the like
You have to put that
the
up.
Reckoning. It's just like I don't know, like maybe they'll all come together and just like one like big film and just like start like kill.
Yeah.
I don't know.
You know what? I actually think that is the end game.
Uh,
I really believe. I think one of the doctors said that was the end game. Like they were waiting for every Winnie the Pooh character
oh my
to get
God.
into the public domain, and then they were going to have like an Avengers style movie at the end, which I think would be amazing, and I would watch it 400 times. I don't give a damn what the plot is.
I haven't even got a chance to watch it yet. And from what I'm hearing from both of you, I'm like, nah, I'm not gonna watch it because you're just torturing me at this point. Okay, fine, I'll go watch it.
The Pooniverse falls, at least to me, into the it's so bad it's good territory.
Yeah.
Yeah, save that for the next episode.
You know, I'm gonna go back to the 70s real quick because I thought about this while y'all were talking. We would not have trauma if it wasn't for the 70s exploitation movies.
Okay, that's fair.
Because if you think about what trauma is, it's basically an exploitation movie company.
Yeah. Yeah, like absolutely. Exploitation just basically explores the taboo.
Mhm.
Like the taboo could be anything from just like very extreme gore to a lot of like burn chicken burr and like all sorts of just like other and also
Going up. And you know, a lot of black horror creators had talked about that a little bit, especially in the 70s, because they covered that a lot. It's really interesting topic to hear about.
Blackula,
We learn about that.
to me, Blackula is one of the most genius movies of all time. It's a horror movie, it's an exploitation movie, and I mean if you sit down and you actually watch it, it's a hell of a movie. I mean, I will watch Blackula forever because it's just so wonderfully done. And I wish we had more of that. That's again, you come out of the 70s exploitation and then you get into the late 70s.
And created something where you get much better reputation, yeah.
And I think that goes to Brandy's point that horror was trying to figure itself out because, like I said, in the early 70s, you had the grindhouse, you had the exploitation films. So it was kind of like let's just throw darts and see what lands. And then you get to the end of the 80s where you get The Omen, you get The Exorcist, you get the first Halloween movie, which God, I wish John Carpenter would have stuck to his guns and told the studio to go fuck themselves.
Yeah, he was this close to doing something great with that. And somehow the studio fucked it up.
Yeah, it was more along the lines of just like Halloween 2 because he didn't want to make a sequel like to it. He envisioned like the Halloween more as like an anthology, which is where Season of the Witch comes in. But the studio's just like, well, we're gonna make it like with you or without you. They basically pulled a Rob Zombie. The studio told Rob Zombie the exact same thing with Halloween 2. It's just like, well, we're just gonna do it with or without you. So John Carpenter just like
which is funny because Rob Zombie showed up way later.
Yeah, so like John Carpenter was just like, okay, and I think probably that's where his disillusion with like studios, like big studios, like started. So it's just like that's why people like him and George Romero just like went independent.
Yes,
because they could have more creative control, and I don't freaking blame them.
I think at this point we need more.
I know you get more really great iconic films like this thing come out of it. So
yes.
Oh, sorry. I just think that's my because we were talking about this in an earlier podcast about things we hate about horror, and that to me the franchises and the universes just drive me up a wall now because it's let's just paste the same old shit into the next movie. We'll tweak it just enough, but it's
Yeah,
copy
that's not
paste,
gonna
copy
work.
paste because it's safe and it makes a lot of money.
But then I would argue that we need franchises, we need remakes and reboots, and we also need original movies because yes, franchises and remakes and reboots, they're safe, they're familiar, but they also have a built-in audience, and that's what studios know. And you know what? I may complain about like, oh God, another Saw movie, but I'm still gonna go see it because
I am.
But they
because
gotta end it at some point,
yeah.
obviously.
Yeah, they do, but eventually, like, yeah, exactly. Like, all these things are going to cut to, and like, there's not going to be much more they can do with Michael Myers, like, in my opinion. There's not, I want them to do more with
Yeah,
Jason.
there's no way.
I want them to do more with Jason because Jason's kind of gotten the shaft for like almost like the last 20 years because of the whole lawsuit thing that was going on. So I want more with
Other
Jason.
than the Freddy versus Jason battle, that's about it.
Well,
Yes, yes. But yeah, so I argue that we need it all. So we just need good movies. I don't care whether they're a part of a franchise. I don't care whether they're a remake, reboot. I don't care whether they're an original one. Just give me all the horror movies. I'll see them.
You
they should have
know,
Tubi like as their first or second option on on our streaming services because we'll just I get because I
but
get asked that question because thanks to the last podcast, I now have to. It feels like I have to ask that question. How long do you take scrolling through Tubi before you can actually find when you want to watch?
oh yeah, we were just talking to another guy about the go.
Oh,
Yeah, I'm scrolling for like a
Not
while.
just Tubi, any streaming platform really.
Yeah. So I've got like this. I scroll like, ooh, this looks interesting. So I'll save it to my list. Ooh, this looks interesting. And then before I know it, my list is like probably like 100, 200 like movies deep. I'm like, oh God, now I gotta watch all these.
Yeah, my
But
list right now, I'm gonna answer this right now. It's about 500 movies deep at this point. And that
that's just me on Slash
uh,
Shutter.
maybe three streaming platforms combined.
Yeah, well,
But
I
yeah,
mean,
there's like so many of them. I
mine's
could
about
barely keep
500 deep on
up.
Shutter. Period. I mean, it just stays 500 deep on Shutter. It's about 300 deep on Tubi, I think.
Oh boy. But yeah, we were just talking about the on my other podcast, my other podcast, but before we get into the area and all that stuff, so the whole situation with the hate code, there's a theory that the hate code that turned into the MPAA and everything is now working on behind the scenes or stuff like that with Congress creating indicating law. So if you had any of the movies like Godfather, Terrifier, horror, drama film, whatever, even an LGBT film, Congress would basically say you can go to federal prison just for having a copy of those movies in your home. And those kind of law is what the hate code was,
which which is
but
still funny
20
to
times worse.
which is still funny to me because 60 years ago, the Supreme Court of the United States said this was impeding, impeding free speech. Like you can't have obscenity laws. I mean, you can have laws to a
Or
point.
indicative law, right?
Yeah, but you can't have well, I mean, they flat out said it. You can't have obscenity laws. I mean, exploitation of a child is something completely different than, the nudie cuties, which was, I believe, which was one of the cases that in the Supreme Court that helped strike down obscenity.
Yeah,
Is there
it
like
was.
a couple of nudie cuties that ended up uh, basically screwing up conservative wet dreams.
Yeah. And that's the problem, with Toya now, because we're talking about the future at some point. You get through the 70s and the 80s and the 90s and all that. You're looking at the hate code being the steward of it all. that
Yeah.
started it all and created the MPAA, and now might get involved in Congress yet again to try to bring back some of those laws that was not very popular to voters. So if you're talking about remake, reboot, original movie, and all that stuff, we need more about, well, in order for that to survive, we have to make sure that Congress did not pass those kind of laws. Otherwise, we're all moving the fuck out of America to be able to make those movies outside of America.
Or we
But
or
not
we
the
figure
problem.
out or we figure out who to bribe on the Supreme Court. Uh,
Okay,
since
that's
they're
that.
open for business.
Not that I'm suggesting it for legal purposes, we are not suggesting it. Uh,
They don't care. They'll take the money.
uh, anyway, but yeah,
It's
that's
Thomas.
one makes my question. Finally, you see the 70, 80, 90 being created at some point throughout the year, the decade, and everything. Um, and then you got the hate code, you got the MPAA, and now you got Congress at some point. Do you think Hoyer will still continue to survive
Yes.
somehow?
Yes, it will. If horror has proven one thing, it survives. Like, and not just because it has final girls and final people like in them. Horror is going to survive one way or another. It's the genre that has always pushed boundaries. It has always just kind of kissed the line, kind of go, okay, like what can we get away with? Okay, cool. Yes, let's just like keep going and keep
Or
going.
holding a mirror up to
So
society? Yeah.
yeah, so absolutely. So they can try, but history also has always shown that if you try to ban things, if you try and like put shackles like on things, that it's good. There's people are just gonna break loose and they're going to like just keep going to like see the thing. They're going to own the thing.
Yeah,
They're
we're gonna go
going,
underground.
yeah, they're gonna watch the thing. So just like, yeah, good luck. That's all I have to say.
Yeah, and they're gonna be like the granite down.
Well,
So yeah, that's very similar.
but let's also be honest. When we had the Hays Code, in the 30s and the 40s and the 50s, they found creative ways to get around it.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, Dracula's daughter, you never see like a lesbian relationship, but it's assumed.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and that's kind of the thing, you go back to Night of the Living Dead. That's why it wasn't as gory.
Yep.
But you knew what was going on. And that
Uh-huh.
was the thing for a lot of those movies. I mean, you go even White Zombie back in the day. I mean, that is you want to talk about heavy subjects. I mean, White Zombie even dealt with slavery,
Yep.
for crying out loud. And it was what voodoo and mind control they used
Yeah.
instead of actual slavery in that movie. That's how they kind of got around it. But yeah. So if you want the answer is yes. Brandy's absolutely right. Horror is going to survive because we're the cockroaches. We figure the way. Horror and science fiction are definitely the cockroaches of the movie industry. We'll survive no matter what.
Yeah.
So in other words, we could survive a nuclear war then. Okay.
Yes,
Yes. Yes, absolutely.
I guarantee you, 10 minutes after nuclear war, there will be somebody with a video camera.
Yeah.
Yeah. I might be that somebody just saying.
Threads becomes a documentary.
Oh, please make that a documentary.
No,
We could
no.
like say that was the worst fucking idea that Mark Zuckerberg ever came up with.
Not yes, please. I don't want Threads to become a documentary in my lifetime. Let me just put it that way.
But yeah, seriously though, I would be honest with you. With the future being what it is now, depending on how we go over the next 5 or 10 years, we go back to the 70s and the 80s and the 90s, and we look at these influential moments in cinema history. Uh, I mean, you got Claire and Hannibal Lecter, very, very, very important moment in history. Especially when that Danny like, ooh, creepy as fuck. Danny for Lamb, that was a good one. And then you have all these other moments. Then you always go back to the fact that the only award that ever gonna win is the Fangoria Award.
Yeah.
We
Well,
did talk about that on episode a while back, but yeah,
yeah, like to me, well, let's see. Yeah, Silence of the Lambs won a few Academy Awards, and then I count Parasite also as a horror film, a
yeah, we
Bong
did talk
Joon-ho's
about
like
that.
film, which won like some awards, but yeah, I think about a School of Rock, that movie Jack Black, and what they said in there. It's just like, it's not about getting an A. So basically, it's just like, who cares if horror never wins a single freaking award other than a Fangoria like Chainsaw Award? It's just awesome. That's all I have to say.
100% with it. Like, why do we need an Academy Award to justify?
Yeah, exactly.
So,
I know we go back through all of that. It's actually a good point. So yeah. All right, so let's get into the 80s real quick. Favorite things that you like about the 80s toilet.
Oh man, it's just fun. I was an 80s kid and a 90s teen, and just like, so I remember seeing movies. Hellraiser, definitely what I wasn't supposed to. Things like The Howling. I was allowed to watch Tales from the Crypt. So just so much fun horror came out during the 80s. So just basically to kind of counteract the whole just idea of just like you had Reagan and the whole Reaganomics thing just like going on there. So almost like horror was a way of just like pushing back, just like, okay, so we're either going to push back in one of two ways. We're going to push back by just making stuff that is fun, or we're going to push back on making stuff that is it's critical of you. It's critical of you. It's like very, very much so. Like John Carpenter's They Live. That is probably my prime example of just like John Carpenter's middle finger to the whole just like political system in the 1980s. So you had fun stuff and you had very like overly critical stuff. And I loved all of it. But horror in the 80s to me seemed to have just one of those two general directions. It was finding its feet, it was figuring itself out, and it
Yeah,
was fun.
especially in
Whether
the middle of a Titanic panic.
so whatever, if the movie was made by a studio or whether someone picked up a video camera and just filmed a horror movie in their backyard, horror was just in the 80s was just so damn fun.
it was. It was. I mean, that's I'll go back to Trauma again. That was like the golden age of Trauma, really, if you think about it, because you had Toxic Avenger, you had what is it, Night of the Chicken Dead, which is still in. By the way, did y'all know there's a sequel to that?
No.
That's currently being filmed.
Oh my
I
God.
can't believe I was reminded of that again.
Yeah.
We talked about that in a previous episode. I'm like, what the fuck? Are you doing that? That's your sequel?
Yes. Well, I think Uncle Lloyd wants to get it done before he passes on. The Sergeant Kabukiman, which I know is not a horror movie, but it's the most fucking hilarious movies I've ever seen in my entire life. But oh man, no, you're right. 80s horror was fun because we didn't give a damn, and I don't think the purpose was. And I'll say this, and I know I feel like I'm shitting on studios a lot, but I feel like the purpose wasn't just to have make $50 million back. I mean,
Right.
it feels like the horror back in the 80s was just there to entertain us, and yes, 90% of it was to give Ronald Reagan a middle finger, which is why I think we're about to have another horror renaissance coming through, because there's going to be
A little bit of the Trump.
a lot of middle fingers to Trump in the next few years.
I mean,
Yeah.
you got Civil War. That was one.
Oh,
The horror
yeah.
movie sort of, but
Yeah, horror
that's one
adjacent.
movie. Now we need a couple more.
Yeah, so yeah, especially now, like in the 2020s, now what I'm starting to see is a lot of just home invasion horror is starting to like make a comeback, and that's a direct commentary into just being like critical of the government, being like, okay, you're just being invasive and more ways than one. It's just pretty much you're invading like my home, like my privacy. Quit it, and that's why you're seeing so much home invasion
Yeah.
horror like
You know,
coming back like into the swing of things.
you know what else I can see?
I will
'Cause
also turn the white supremacy being put in horror movie and telling people this is what happens when you allow white supremacy to thrive. We're gonna
yeah,
kill these motherfuckers.
Sinners, which I still need to see. I know, just like, oh my God, like I've heard nothing but good things
Oh
about
my
it.
god, so good.
Yeah.
I'm
well,
not saying nothing. I'm not going in it. It's so fucking good. It's great.
I'll give you
Get
guys,
ready for a thing that you will never forget.
I'll give you all a part of genre I think is going to explode. Mind control. I think we're going to start seeing a bunch of mind control because think about it. We talk about this all the time. And 28 Days Later is kind of a movie like that if you think about it. Because I mean that's kind of how that was one half of the rage virus.
28 days later, yeah.
Because if y'all remember, that was one half of the rage virus was that the monkeys were so
The
exposed to
TV
so
show.
much
Yeah.
hate
Yeah.
and destructive media. That was the message. I mean, if you think about it, that was the message, what, 15 years ago is, hey, you assholes who sit on your ass all day and watch the fucking news, you're the problem. And he's right.
If you're watching that much Fox News, you are definitely the fucking problem.
I'll argue it don't matter. Fox News, CNN, MSNBC. If you're watching
Okay, yeah. Corporate media. Yeah.
corporate media,
Yeah.
yes, because that's what they want you to. And if you're sitting on Facebook all day, that's the rage porn. I think we're gonna start seeing
That's an
movies.
interesting way to put it.
Well, that's what they call it, rage porn. Um, we're going to start seeing a lot of movies that are going to deal with people getting brainwashed, for lack of a better term, off of social media, and we've kind of already dipped our toe into it with a few movies. Not just 28 Days Later. There was another one, wasn't there, where a guy developed a crush on one of his Facebook friends?
Unfinder.
Yeah,
There was another
Unfriended.
one.
Unfriended.
And there was the whole cat movie or something like that. Yeah.
Yeah.
I remember all of
I
that.
think you're going to
And
see
there
a
was the
lot.
guy where they're doing a whole bunch of other stuff.
You're going
Give
to see
me
a
to
lot of
the
those movies.
internet, send it up for you. But yeah.
I'll make that prediction right now. You're going to see a lot of those movies come out in the next few years that are going to deal with the brainwashing thanks to social media and corporate television.
Yeah.
Well, the Total Dilemma with a Netflix documentary, that could be a fucking horror movie alone.
Yeah. Yeah. Like, so mind control, brainwashing, probably along the psychological horror aspect. I feel it's the
Yeah.
subgenre where that would best fit. But yeah, like I'd be curious to see like how that comes about. But I think we're going to also start seeing like I've seen like plenty of home invasion horrors,
Yes.
just like in one form or another. So as far coming up in 2025 especially. So I think we're going to see like more of those like kinds of movies.
Weapon, for example, that's another one. Weapon that's coming
Oh,
out. They're
yeah.
gonna do a lot of the
Yeah,
they're gonna do the home invasion stuff. But
I
yeah,
think we need another Purge movie while we're at it.
Yeah, Purge is that's just pretty much, that's not even subtle. That's just like, blah, blah, blah. This is who we're criticizing, blah, blah.
a lot of you. I mean, look at the Purge. A lot of you. Look at who controls the Purge. They'll be like,
That's the whole
we are
thing.
not the representative day. That is the night you're gonna do it.
That's kind of the whole thing. I'm getting actually worried that The Purge is about to become a documentary and not a movie.
Yeah.
Well, They Live is also pretty much a documentary that we never want.
B for Vendetta, another documentary. There's too many of them.
We need to go to that building in LA and figure out where the
Stop
body.
using that instruction manual, government. Stop. Just stop watching those movies. You're using it. Just stop.
It's like if I see another one of those "You Are Here" things, it's like no. Apparently, you didn't read 1984, or you didn't read all these movies where you're saying you're here now. No, we've been here, son.
Yeah, we've been here. We didn't do a damn thing to fucking stop it.
No.
Yeah, and that's where I think horror, like I said, Yanni, you mentioned like we're gonna about ready to see like another horror renaissance. Like I totally agree. We had like the zombie
I
horror
say that
renaissance
as
that
well, but
happened
yeah.
after 9/11. So I think at any major kind of world like governmental historical events, there's always like a horror renaissance to go along with it. So yeah, I am so excited, like not for like all the worldly bullshit, but so excited just to see like what comes out of it in terms of like horror movies and how what kinds of commentary they have in them and how critical they are and speaking their own form of truth to power.
And
Yeah, I
another,
want to do what they're gonna do with Gaga and all that stuff.
Hmm.
well, I think
Uh,
another
yeah.
genre. I'll give y'all another genre I think is about to explode too. We're gonna get another round of eco horror. Because what is eco horror but you know
Oh
go-
boy. You're
governments.
talking about like the doomsday prepper type of thing
No, I mean,
or
Something like The
climate change?
Ruins. Something
yeah,
like
the
The
ruins.
Ruins is an example of eco horror.
Okay,
because
climate change then.
because that's another genre where it's capitalistic or government just lets it get out of control because either A, they're making a shit ton of money, or B, the government just doesn't give a damn. And well, I mean, we're seeing A and B now, and you can even relate it to AI. We might even get a few movies that
An
deal with.
inconvenient truth, the Hoya version.
Was it's not related to eco horror, but was it Companion, the movie Companion, like somewhere along those lines? So
That was
Oh no.
that
Oh,
was
companion messed me up so much. I could not even watch a second time.
like
Companion. If you
AI.
really think about it, though, Companion was warning us years before it became popular that AI was gonna fuck us up. I mean, well, I mean, we can be honest. The Terminator movies were the same thing. It's like, hey, maybe we shouldn't put our hands, our defense in the hands of AI if we
Yeah,
want to live.
you
Megan
basically just created
2.0 done
Skynet.
the same fucking thing.
There's another movie that feels like it's about to become a documentary and not entertainment.
Yeah.
Yeah, too many
That's
horror.
funny. There's an article that just came out just now from from a movie reviewer, curator, actually. This one is just now talking about, we're just running up AI real quick. This one is just now talking about the IMAP AI Film Festival is here. And that's
Oh,
a worry because apparently IMAP, one of the biggest companies in the world, that plans, filmmakers to expect on the big screen and everything. It basically putting together a film festival entirely made up of AI generated short film. Not AI just none of that. 100% completely AI. Those Hollywood studios are talking about doing it.
yeah, I've heard about that, and people are just like, this is bull. Basically, it's just
Yeah,
I
it's bullshit.
honestly, yeah, I honestly think that AI is going to lose a lot of its shine, especially since it's
I hope it
infecting
does.
like everything,
Otherwise, we got a Terminator situation.
every app, every piece of software, just like everything. I think people are going to eventually get tired of it. It's like I'm with Guillermo del Toro on this one because it's just like he talks about using it as a tool and not a solution because art, he says the value of art is what you would risk to be in its presence.
Yeah.
And he gave the example just like you would stand in line for 3 hours just to see a Van Gogh painting for 5 minutes. So just like, but so he goes, AI art risks nothing because it's really about nothing.
This,
I even hate calling it AI art, but I don't know like a better term for it.
well, I mean,
Yeah,
we're even talking
let's
about
call
this.
it that at this point.
Well, we're even talking about this in the writing in our writing communities. It's like, how far do you go with AI? Because I'll admit it's a good tool if you want to edit, we don't talk about this. You know what spell check technically is AI. A lot of people forget that.
Mm-hmm.
But do you just
But
stop
it's
with
not like 100%.
yeah,
Right.
or do you help it? Or can it help you outline a book? You know, where the I guess that would be the question is even in literature, where's the line
So you're
between
saying where the line?
yeah,
Okay, so that's what I've been thinking about. Um, because if you want to know where the line is, use it as a tool to help you get things done, audio, outline, whatever. But don't use it to make an entire fucking film or short film. Don't use it in defense military budget. Don't use it in things that actually going to hurt people. That's going to hurt audience. That's going to hurt community. You don't need a big data center to create AI. No, you just need maybe something small and keep it simple. Right now you're already killing the environment with those big data center for AI, and that's the problem. And so when you look at that, that's the line that you need to stop at. Want to use it for like editing and stuff like that, try to get it done, little simple things to help you get through the day, fine. But once you get to that line, stop right there.
see,
Because
I'll
once you get past that line, you got a fucking Terminator situation right now.
I'll admit
We're all gonna die on the darknet.
see I'll admit where I use AI as a content creator. And it's for the little shit that I don't want to do. Like make a description on YouTube, come up with hashtags on YouTube. You know, the little menial tasks
That's
that
fair IQ.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah, like, hey, let me put this interview in here now. Give me a good description that sounds absolutely great on YouTube. I'm cool with people doing that. And I'm actually wanting to applaud YouTube that they are now getting those make a buck quick AI slop channels. I not that cool.
But they'll
That
have to
cool
get rid
AI
of it though. But yeah.
AI these faceless YouTube channels. I know technically I'm kind of one of them with dangerous tides, but that's a whole nother issue. But I'm talking about the ones that do all these stupid, you know, shorts that and 9 times out of 10 they're wrong. Did y'all ever notice that? If
Yeah.
you watch those
Not
faces,
even accurate. Nobody backtracked them.
no. And I've done it on several occasions. This is why I severely limit my usage of AI. I used it for work one time. And I put in give me 5 football coaches that could coach at the University of North Carolina. For those of you who don't know, I do sports talk during the day. You know what it gave me? 5 basketball coaches. Not even kidding.
Why basketball
5
coach?
basketball coaches. I don't think any of them can coach football.
So you're saying AI need more training than but need to spank it a little bit or something.
Oh no,
I can call you daddy.
not spank it because no, and let's definitely not train it because we found out the hard way not too long ago what happens when you train AI.
Okay, yeah, that's
I
fair.
want to talk about Grok.
But how you correct all those mistakes though, so you don't get in trouble with that?
Don't use it. Use Google.
Yeah.
Okay,
It's
there you
like,
go.
so yeah, you shouldn't be trusting any kind of tool like that verbatim, just even with stuff like Grammarly, which I use on a regular basis.
Oh,
It will like do these weird corrections where you're just like, What? No, this sounds horrible."
I'm sorry,
No.
I'm laughing because Yanni just be
Grammarly and I are at war with each other now.
Button heads.
I refuse to use Grammarly.
continue.
It screwed me up so much.
I'm I'm used to using it. I used it like all throughout like my graduate studies, and like I had my students use it. So just
You know what? You know what AI is, at least for our generation? Wikipedia. I remember my professor, and I had plenty of them,
Mhm.
was I know if you use Wikipedia.
Yeah, my
And
lots of
Well,
mine were too. It's like you do not use Wikipedia as a primary source. I still like remember that.
somehow we're getting off topic at this point. So
Yes,
back
we
to the
are.
80s real quick. The 80s. What was one of the biggest things you did not like about the 80s horror?
Oh, this is a trick question almost.
I
Um,
wish it was a quick question. I wish it was.
well, for me it is because I'm very hard pressed to like come up with something like off the top of my head that I don't like. Well, if I'm just going to go
I'm so
individually
glad I gave you the question then.
if I'm just gonna go just like individual like wise, I didn't like Friday the 13th Part 8 Jason Takes Manhattan. That was like, I wish that was never like even made and that was made during the 80s.
Fine forms to the left.
But Jason takes on New York City though. It was kind of
for
funny.
for 20 minutes.
Jason's not a Cenobite.
Okay, fine. I'll give you the 20 minutes. Then that's it.
Well, okay, maybe one thing that I didn't really particularly like is that there wasn't enough Clive Barker like in the 80s. I wanted to see
Well, he was only just a writer, right? In the beginning before he ever got into film.
yeah, like no, but I wanted to see more Clive Barker films because he's such a glorious, like imaginative person. It's just like his horror is both disgusting and beautiful at the same time.
And
So like,
kinky.
yeah,
Very
and very
kinky.
much so. Yes. So it's just like if I had any kind of like critique, it's just like things I don't like about the 80s, just like where was all the Clive Barker? I wanted more of him.
Yeah, that was like what? Two Hellraiser in the 80s, and then Hellraiser 3 was in the early 90s, right?
I think you're right.
Yeah. I'm trying to keep up with the Hellraiser stuff because now they got a video game coming out, which actually
Um,
looks good. It's
it
not Dead
does.
by Daylight. Uh,
Nope.
it's
Nope.
probably better than Outlaw.
Yeah. Well, they worked with Clive Barker like directly, just like they consulted. They involved him just like very heavily, and
That's exactly what I wanted to do.
yes. So it's got his touch like all over it. You can tell.
Oh yeah. You know what? I would like to get tortured in the game. I'll be like, please, bite
Uh,
me.
oh no.
But then I'll probably play one of a Dynamite if they let me play it. I don't know. But I want to find out how that's gonna go. But
I
oh
would. I would.
damn, that's so good.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, but how many is why I got to BTS done? Well, secretary actually, but how I did too. How I did why I got into the hardcore version.
Is Secretary the greatest movie ever made? I mean, can we just make that argument?
Thank you, secretary. Yeah, greatest movie ever. I am not a crook. Secretary was the greatest movie ever.
Yes, James Spader, we know you're God, but that's a whole other story.
Oh boy, Jake Bader, yeah, that was a whole other story. But seriously, Maggie Gyllenhaal did a really good job. Very
Yes.
well. I mean, damn, great stuff. But having to say that, you answered that tough question somehow. It was a good answer, but it was pretty tough to answer, right?
Yeah, especially since I love the 80s so
Yeah,
much.
I thought so. Um, all right. So, what's the one thing that you think the 80s should have taught more about, especially given the historical significance behind the 80s? Like, you got the AIDS epidemic, you got Ronald Reagan, you got all of that shit that was going on. What do you think 80s horror movies should have taught more about the most?
Um, Well, the 80s as horror as a whole is a very pro-woman genre. You got just pretty much that's why the trope of the final girl still survives and still like hangs on like even to this day. I definitely would have liked to have seen more horror films during the 80s, especially as explore like a woman like women were trying to figure out their place, just especially just like in the workforce and just almost like as and you got the whole just like the feminist movement that started in the 70s, just like going like into the 80s. Like I would have liked to have seen a horror in the 80s explore just that aspect of just like a woman's struggle, especially just to find out just where she fits just like especially just like in this whole just like this planet that you call Earth. Just like where does she fit? Just like does she,
Yeah,
like what's her identity?
I mean, I could do that, especially with movies like Alien and stuff like that coming out over the years. You see a lot of women who are very, very, strong and trying to like develop that identity, and that's actually a good topic. It's a really good topic. You know what? I think that's something that 80 years should have covered more of that. Yeah, I agree with that. For me, that's one thing. For me, it's the A academic. The reason why because we needed to shine a better light on the LGBTIQ plus community as a whole. And horror movie would at the end, and especially in the 80s, would kind of making fun about sort of like the trope and stuff like that. And there was that disability stuff, like the disabled wheelchair user who fell down the stair after getting hacked by Jason. I'm like, at least put a wheelchair accessible ramp in there. Cause that was just messed up. But seriously, I think that the 80s should have covered more of that because we were right on the cusp of passing the American with Disability Act out of the 80s. And we were right on the cusp of surviving the AIDS epidemic, but just now finding out how much it really cost us all as a community. Because a lot of people died.
Was was
You know,
second Friday the 13th or the second Nightmare on Elm Street? That was like an allegory for AIDS.
yeah, it was like because they were talking about the drug use and everything, yeah.
Yeah,
But they
yeah.
didn't really cover that much.
Yeah, if it was covered, it wasn't a very in your face. It was very subtle, like with things in John Carpenter's Prince of Darkness. That was one that was just like people think it's an allegory, like for the AIDS like epidemic, but just very subtle. So yeah, like I know the whole environment just like around that time was just very against anybody who even had that, which is very, very wrong. So to even just like discuss it even like in an allegorical sense, I think was very brave. But I do also get your point. It's just like why weren't we more direct with it? But they did
Yeah.
what they did what they could have done at that point in time.
And of course, sleepaway camp gave trans people a really bad look.
Yeah.
That whole situation, I was just like, oh no, 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 no. I do not want to see that thing. That
Also,
thing really fucked me up so bad.
yeah, also
Because as a trans woman myself,
yeah, and
yeah,
also
I was
Brian
ready to cover my eyes by the time that came
yeah.
up.
Yeah, also Brian De Palma's Dress to Kill was another film that was just like along like
Very
those lines.
transphobic.
And Prom Night, the Prom Night, the one in 1980. Yeah. So
Yeah.
yeah, but I think I remember like hearing it was in the In Search of Darkness 1980s documentary. One of the people that they got to talk said like, yeah, we can recognize horror where it was at and recognize that, hey, what they were doing at certain points was wrong, and we can grow and learn from it. And I think representation is so much better in horror now than it was back then. We still got a long way to go, though.
Yeah, and we're fighting back at the camp counselor and Kevin Bacon, they and them. And I'm like, yeah, we're fighting back. So yeah, I agree. We do have much better reputation now, but it took so long though. For black reputation, for queer reputation, trans reputation, woman's reputation, just in general. It took so goddamn long to get to that point. Especially when we got to Queen Shit. We were like, don't fuck with the daughter of a serial killer. Why do you not remember that rule? That's a new rule now. Don't fuck with that. Seriously. So that gave women more power to stand up for themselves. And so that's why I think the 80s definitely missed out on a lot of opportunities that they could have talked about in the film. Yes, it's subtle. Yes, there was a little bit too much crossing the line, like with Sleepaway Camp. But hopefully it got the door in the right direction where we got to where we are now.
Yeah.
So that's one thing. We'll be right back. We're going to be covering Nanu Toya and the future of Toya. So don't go anywhere.
Where do you think you and Wendy would be if you hadn't come to counseling at all?
I don't know if we'd still be married.
I have a cabin. It's where I hold private workshops for intensive couples counseling.
What would we do all weekend?
I'll be there on Saturday and Sunday to facilitate the workshop, and you and Wendy will have your privacy Friday and Saturday nights.
I'm willing to try if it can get us to where we want to be.
Oh, hey! Oh, didn't mean to sneak up on you there. If you guys feel like partying later, feel free to stop by. I'm Michael, by the way.
What's the matter?
Just that guy from earlier. He really creeped me out.
Well, I'll protect you.
Wendy! Where are you, Wendy? You should run.
Alright, okay, the whole know what my lovely co-host, Yanni, apparently looking at something weird. What are you looking at? You're not looking at porn, are you? I'm fucking with you.
Yes, I'm on Pornhub as we speak.
See, this is the beauty of the whole know film. We always coming up with something funny to say. So, we are back with Brandy, aka the terrible lady of the retro horror school. All the cool shit that you do on. She does great shit on YouTube and Kofi. Kofi gets a little bit of extra. Just saying. Pay her. Anyway, having said that, whatever, I'm pointing the wrong way. Pay her. You know what? And I think it's gonna look like shit anyway. So, I'm kidding. So we're gonna be talking about the Narnia a little bit, quite a bit, actually. At the beginning of the Narnia Academy Award, started recognizing some of our films, yeah. But we talked about that maybe a couple episodes back, where the Academy Award did not really give a lot of respect to like the China or other film other than, Silence of the Lamb. And the reason why that is because of the fact that Anthony Hopkins Jr. might have been a driving factor of why they won the Academy Award. But there's so many different factors behind it. We covered that a lot, me and Yanni. So, Brandy, in the 90s, back in the beginning, do you consider Silence of the Lamb, before we go any further with that, do you consider Silence of the Lamb a crime thriller or a jack crime thriller? What do you consider it as?
I think it's a horror film. I've always like to argue just like about that. I've had people just like be like, "Oh, what are you talking about? Like, it's not a horror film." It's just like it was just given the term thriller, I think, in my opinion, because people were just like, ew, horror, no. Let's just slap a nice pretty label on it and it will sound sophisticated and awesome. Like, it's horror films. Like when you find a severed head in a storage unit,
Oh, I'm
when you
laughing and
basically
dying
have
now.
Hannibal Lecter
I'll
like
tell you in a minute.
when you have Hannibal Lecter beating the crap out of somebody with a baton, he basically flays somebody and displays them up there almost just like an angel. He
Right.
cuts off a guy's face and like puts it on his own to like disguise it. There's blood like everywhere. It's just like it's a freaking
Yeah, the face
film.
is cut off the face, but he
Yeah,
actually
no,
bit
yes.
somebody's nose off. But yeah.
Yeah, and he's a cannibal, and he's talking about just pretty much at the end, I'm having an old friend for dinner. Bye. So you know where that's gonna end
And we
up.
all know where it's gonna go in Hannibal.
So yeah, it is a horror film. I don't consider it a thriller of just like any sort. Just like, yeah, Clarice is discovering things about this case of Buffalo Bill and about like herself, like along the way, because of Hannibal Lecter getting inside her head. But I think it's more horror. I've always thought that.
Yeah.
There's my 2 cents.
And the other thing is too, when you bring up Anthony Hopkins, it's like this is a Shakespearean actor. That is beneath Shakespearean actors. Is to be in horror films. No, he's in a horror film, and there's plenty of people. I mean, Brian Cox, for crying out loud, was the original Hannibal Lecter.
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
Brian Cox, what was it? Anthony Hopkins was doing Shakespeare, while Brian Cox played Hannibal Lecter.
Wait a minute, are you talking about in Mindhunter?
Yeah, Manhunter.
Brian Cox? I didn't know. Okay, I'll have to watch that again.
Yeah, Manhunter is based on Thomas Harris's Red Dragon.
Yeah.
Oh, Manhunter. Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
And the funny thing is, I think Manhunter is actually is that one closer to the book?
Some would
yes, I would think it's been a while since I've read Red Dragon, but yeah, I think so. I just personally didn't like the.
But they did come out with Red Dragon.
Yeah, it's just I think I just have Anthony Hopkins so ingrained in my mind that I looked at Brian Cox. I'm like, oh no, I don't like this.
I can't remember. I did this with a couple of friends of mine. We actually did a draft. Between all these Silence of the Lamb movies, and we threw in Manhunter, and it's like Michael Peterson has to come up somewhere in the later, versions, because I think that's what helped him become so good at CSI. Is, to me, he's far superior as Will Graham than
and the TV show, right? Yeah.
No. He was Will Graham in Manhunter.
Oh yeah. Okay. I just want to be clear. I think along the way we got from voting of Will Graham, but yeah.
Yeah, he was a lot better than. Why am I blanking on his name?
If we're talking about the one in Red Dragon 2002, is Edward Norton.
Yeah, Edward Norton. I think.
Yeah, that's the one.
Peterson was much better than Norton as Will Graham. He looks like Will Graham to me, not Edward Norton. So.
Yeah, the way they wrote the character, if you want to compare on look and everything, it will have to be Peterson. But that would be not Edward Norton.
I'm more in the Edward Norton camp. I'm sorry. I just like I've seen Red Dragon. I think it's probably because I saw Red Dragon and I've
seen them all, but I like them all.
Way before I ever saw Manhunter. When I saw Manhunter, I was like, what is this? No, it's all so boring. Like, I thought it was boring. I'm sorry.
I got to watch.
But then we got back to Hannibal Lecter, so.
Well, I got to watch Red Dragon in the theaters on a date. And all I can say is the person I was dating at the time was just giddy over Ralph Fiennes' penis. I had to hear about Ralph Fiennes' penis for days. I think I got
cut. Your date. Wow. I'm not gonna say anything bad about your date at the time, but okay.
Yeah, yeah, I think I got cucked. Without anybody having any sex. Ralph finds his penis right
Yeah,
there.
you got cop block. You got cop block before the internet even came out.
My my bisexual ass was sitting there going, okay, I see the argument.
Okay, you know what? There you go. There you go.
Oh, that's gonna have to be cut out. I'm sure.
Yeah. Yeah, we got that queer panic.
Uh,
But overall, when we go from down at the lamp, right,
mhm.
we get into the 90s, we see Dracula coming out, Bram Stoker Dracula with Gary Oldman, and then we get more into the 90s. And remember, we were just right on the edge of the late 80s, early 90s, and some of the style and fashion was still being influenced in the 90s movies. So, I mean, look at desperately taking Susan. Somehow we still managed to have 80s fashion in the 90s movies.
Well, if you think
So, yeah,
like if you
I'm
compare,
hoping I'm correct on that one because I may be wrong about the release year.
but if
Um,
if you think about the transitioning from the 80s to the 90s, musically and horror wise, it was kind of the same thing because we kind of
yeah,
got out of the campy, you know,
yeah, I know the
80s
Lost
horror,
Boys and all of that stuff,
yeah,
right?
the campy 80s slashers, and then we got into vampires for a while. That was kind of
There was
grunge.
a lot of vampires.
Yeah, if you think about it, it's like leaving glam rock and going to grunge, and then by the end of the 90s, we were into more pop. I guess
Or
you pop
got
punk, and that's kind of
like
like I Know What You Did Last Summer would be pop
the
punk.
crap or whatever,
Yeah,
yeah.
The Craft. But that's a good transitional movie.
That's a whole transitional period right there. And then, of course, you cannot forget about Bunnyman's iconic and tragic performance in The Crow, which came out in 1994, right around the year. Well, wait, 1992. I'm sorry. It was 1992 when The Crow came out,
I think you're right
or
the first time,
94?
1994.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, yeah, it was 94. So it's right around the time Kurt Cobain died, the world just dealing with a lot of shit, and everybody going to the movie theater to watch finally another icon that just passed away. So it's a bad year for everybody in 1994, obviously. But that movie comes out. You have to think, from 1990 to 1994, into the darkness, you saw the documentary, right?
Yes.
What do you really think about the opinion and thought that they were having about 1990 to 1994?
Oh, I do. I agree, especially that a lot of the first part of the 90s was basically um it was also trying to figure itself out because they mentioned that you had a lot of the holdovers from the 80s like Freddie, Jason, Michael, a lot of the old guard like Stud Leatherface like was also in the
Duffy
90s
becoming one of the new guys, yeah.
so like still like making movies and it's just like slashers were for the most part dying. I put quote quote dying like in the early part of the
Yeah.
90s. So again, like
That's
the
gonna come out in Flatter Trap.
yeah. So again, like the 70s, like the early part of the 90s was also just trying to figure itself out. It's like, well, we've got all these horror icons that we could do like so much more with, but sentiment is kind of trending down like for slashers. So where do we go like from here? So it was just again a lot of let's figure out where we're going to go. And I think once the 90s hit its stride with movies like Scream and with The Craft and even with things like oh crap. I'm gonna even throw Event Horizon in there, even though it was a film that didn't like do just like
Event
very well. You have
Horizon
these
was in the
really
90s,
like
yeah. Jurassic Park,
wicked,
I mean,
yeah, you have wicked like sci-fi like horror like also coming out in the 90s as well. So it was like the mid to late 90s is where it started to find its stride again.
okay. So despite the fact that we will have a movie like Danny of the Lamb and The Crow and Bram Stoker's Dracula
Yeah.
trying to pick up the mantle, pick up the torch
Yeah.
where
So
Splatter was starting to die off in the early 90s, 1990, 1994. You're saying that the 90s hit a driver Toya after 1994. That's what you're saying?
yes, that's exactly like what I'm saying. It's like you had like stuff in the 90s, like the big actors, like the actors, like Jack Nicholson was even in that movie Wolf. Like so you had these A-list actors that are like, oh, I want to be in like basically a B horror film, like just because I'm Jack Nicholson, or I wouldn't call like Silence of the Lambs a B horror film, but like beneath him, people probably thought it was beneath him. But it's just like I want to do a horror film because I'm Anthony
But he
Hopkins.
did it
I'm
anyway.
I'm Jack Nicholson. I'm at that point of the career where I can do whatever I want. I don't care. So you see like a lot of these A-list
I think
actors.
Anthony Hopkins was kind of the same way because if it's age, he was getting up there on that age.
Yeah, so you see like a lot of A-listers in horror films, but I wouldn't count, and even Gary Oldman in Dracula, I'll also like bring him up too. So, but it's and also Brad Pitt and Tom Cruise in Interview with the Vampire, another vampire film. Too big, like Brad Pitt was
God,
up
that
and
was
coming.
hot.
Tom Cruise was already an A-list
I'm sorry,
actor,
but that
like
was hot.
yeah, at that point. But I don't really see it as hitting its stride. I just see the 90s as a lot of we're still figuring ourselves
Early
out.
90s, okay.
Yeah, the early 90s is like figuring itself out mixed with a bunch of A-listers in horror films. That's this just like this weird mix going on.
But at the same time, still trying to give a middle finger to corporate America because, like, what me and Yanni were just talking about on an episode a while back, I think this was the last season. We did talk about this briefly about Enter the Darkness 1994, basically giving a middle finger to corporate America because we were just coming out of Reagan. We were just coming out of all of that. I'm going into George H.W. Bush and everything.
That's kind of what a lot of people have been talking about is horror, and this and again this goes back to what we're talking about with horror will survive, because horror adapts.
Yeah.
Horror adapts. And yeah, we had a lot of anti-Reagan stuff in the 1980s, but then we get into the 1990s and all of a sudden it's anti-corporate. It's
Yeah.
and you look at society back then. I mean, what we had the
We were
Seattle.
full, and I
Yeah, we ended the 90s with the World Trade Organization riots in Seattle. But it also goes back to what I was saying with music, because we kind of were trying to figure ourselves out with grunge, right? Like we were coming out of kind of glam rock, so to speak, the hair bands of the 80s,
Yep.
the end of the glam rock era. And then we get into kind of grunge, which was kind of real. It was kind of,
right, and that's the
toned
same thing with the
down.
Hoya movie in 1994.
Nasty. It was, I guess you would call it nasty, toned down. And that was kind of some of the horror movies in the mid 90s. It was toned down, had more of an indie feel, till you get, and then you can make that argument going into the late 90s. That's when we got Blair Witch. That's when we got I Know What You Did Last Summer. And I mean, my God, Blair Witch was what, a $100,000 budget? Something like that. I mean,
A masterclass in marketing.
So,
We talked
yeah.
about that.
Well, actually, the film I believe had a $60K budget. It was the budget for the movie itself was not that much, which is what made it just so.
Three people, couple camera, that's better.
Yeah, it's just the marketing, just like especially Blair Witch was pretty much the beginning of what I like to call viral marketing, because it used that just to perfection. Because they had people believing that it actually happened. And I was kind of duped by that myself. Of course, I was like only 17 at the time, so it's just like I have an
I
excuse. My
do
the
too.
cortex
I was
wasn't
like
duped
just
yet, was
turning
it?
13 or 14 or something like. No, wait. I was just about to turn 13 at that time. I was getting close to 13, and I was totally duped by that. I was like, no!
Yeah,
Yeah.
that was a deceptively brilliant movie
Hmm.
in that way. But we also, in a way, like I want to say, what was it? Because we were getting into this is something else a lot of people don't ever bring up. The 90s kind of started a lot of us getting into true crime. Like, because what do we have? What was it?
True crime podcast, true crime that,
Well,
yeah.
I mean, this is because yeah, this was like at the beginning of when Dateline was starting to find themselves. 48 Hours was finally starting. The midweek news magazines, were going away from, hey, let's check out this scam, or let's check out this person. Because what do we have?
All copy?
Yeah,
That was
92.
in the 90s.
Well, because we also
Yeah.
went through 3 years of 92, we had Ruby Ridge. 93, we had Waco. 94, we had Oklahoma City. And if you want to even get technical about what was it, 95, we had the World Trade Center bombing.
Also, Heaven's Gate.
Why, by the way?
No.
World Trade Center was bombed twice. 95,
And
2001.
but what I'm saying is we were more interested in Ted Kaczynski. Like, who the hell is Ted Kaczynski when he was arrested? We were interested in David Koresh. We were interested in Timothy McVeigh. We started getting those in-depth profiles of those guys. That really was the first
serial killer, basically, like Ted Bundy and all that. Yeah.
We've had serial killers forever. What I'm saying is that's kind of where the news magazines, like the 2020s and the Lines and the 48 Hours, they stopped being about celebrity interviews. They stopped being about consumer protection, if you will. Back before John Stossel lost his fucking mind and became a libertarian. That's kind of where we began the genesis of true crime. And I think that's what you started to see, because the later on you got into the 90s, especially with horror, like something like I Know What You Did Last Summer, all of a sudden we're back to I Spit on Your Grave. Wait a minute, this shit could legitimately happen. And same thing with Scream too. Right. If you get somebody that is that motivated, all of a sudden, Scream could legitimately happen. I don't know if you can go as far as he did, but in a way, it was also talking about police corruption a little bit too, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, sort of like that. I mean, you got Dewey who kind of clueless in the beginning. But
those were kind of the messages of the 90s was, we were starting to find out how truly corrupt a lot of, we always thought that, okay, since
after Nixon, yeah.
But what I'm saying is, since Nixon, we've always thought, okay, it's just the federal government. But starting in like the 90s, we kind of started to open our eyes to, wait a minute, corruption goes down to our damn city councilmen, for crying out loud. You always thought those were the good people that wanted to actually.
And they all go down to, like, when you mention police corruption, it all go down to things like the Rodney King situation.
Yeah.
And so all of that combined, that entire decade basically gave us idea for a movie at the time.
Yeah, it was all cynicism.
Yeah.
Yeah, somehow we were filming it during a very, very difficult period. I mean, Brian Lee just died. Are you still gonna release the quote? Kurt Cobain died. Are you still gonna release the quote anyway? So that whole year was fucked. 1994 died. And then you got TV show like Full House coming out. With more episode that year. And then it's like, Kurt Cobain just died. You're gonna put out another episode of Full House? Okay.
Yeah, I think that was the last season of Full House was 1994.
No, the last
A lot of
season
people
was
forgot. No,
95, not into that.
yeah, something like that. But I know Full
There
House
were
started
8 years.
80, 89. Yeah.
Yeah, that started on 80,
Stop!
7,
Stop!
88.
I don't want to feel old.
Yeah.
Somebody could get my dog.
But the point is that you had that period where we were transitioning out of the 80s, going to the 90s. We're still finding our drive. We're still trying to find our stuff. And that brings me to my hard-hitting question. What do you like or did not like about Nani, Toya, and Daniel? Just give it to me.
Uh, I was a teen during the 90s, so a lot of my formative years, like in horror, like
I was a kid, but okay.
was the 90s. But I was kind of getting in up into my teen years during the 90s. But probably
I think
the
I
one.
do the 2000.
Yeah, I just thought horror, just especially, was cool and unique and interesting. It's just like you have those little, it made you feel like, especially in the 90s, that you were in the cool kids clubs, just like, hey, we're gonna throw in a wink and a nudge to just like this horror trope, and just like, and you're gonna be in on the joke with us, and hey, like here's this Easter egg. Like Jason Voorhees is actually a Deadite, and if you've seen Evil Dead and know the
Oh, don't
Necronomicon,
fuck with that on
yeah,
that. Please
you're
don't.
you're
We
you're
have been
you're
debating that for decades.
yeah, you're in the club. So there was a lot of just like, you felt like you were in the cool kids club a lot in the 90s, especially with the references and stuff that they made across a lot of the horror films. Like, were there some that
Goosebumps.
you had like cool things like Goosebumps and Are You Afraid of the Dark, like shows that I watched more of Are You Afraid of the Dark than I did Goosebumps. That was more like my jam.
Next.
Submitted for the approval of the Midnight Society. So
Uh,
it's like
I like both of them.
R.L.
Okay, I like both.
Stein.
Are You Afraid of the Dark and Goosebumps both because they were just pretty awesome equally to me.
R.L. Stein and his Fear
So, but then
Street
again, I
books.
was a kid, so,
But yeah, like a lot of
and
the
all
stuff.
that Pizza Hut.
Yeah, a lot of the horror of the 90s just made you feel like you were in like on things. You had the backstage pass to like the cool kids club. That's how I felt about a lot of the horror of the 90s.
We were dropping the fourth wall a lot.
And we got
Yes.
a lot of free pizza thanks to those books. So we take the
Pizza
free
Hut Bucket
pizza, play the
Club.
video game, and watch horror movie that we were not supposed to watch in the 90s.
Did you any of y'all have that like accelerated reader program too, where it's like you had to get a book that was
Me,
well, yeah, it was like
I
you
was
had
in
to,
that program.
so you had to get a book. Remember, it was like a grade level or two grade levels above what you were, and you had to read it and
Yeah,
then test on it.
That whenever
I
I
was
was
in that program.
whenever I was a third grade teacher, I taught like my students were in like the accelerated reader program. But me personally, I'm from the era of the 80s, like the phonics. That's how pretty much we were. Phonics. That's like the
Letter
era I come from.
Bonus!
Hooked on phonics works for me.
Oh man, I still remember to this day that my first grade teacher. It was always the cool day when she wheeled in the media cart because I'm like, oh, we're getting letter people today, boys.
Yep. For those, yeah, for
Letter
those who
people.
don't know, like the media card is just basically like a wheelie thing where you had like the TV and then like the VCR like on it, and then just like DVD players for those who like if the media cards
Uh,
were still around. But yeah, whenever the teacher wheeled it in, you knew that you were gonna get something fun.
I lived through VTI.
You see, kids, back in the day, they're wishing a TV in every classroom.
You had to rent out the
Yeah,
teachers had to rent out the
I
media
was kind
card.
of waiting for that in the early 90s and the mid 90s. I was waiting up for every day because I come home from school and I complain to my mother, and I'm like, this is when I finally started talking and not using dialect, but I come in and I'm like, Mom, is it summer yet? Because I just want to go to the water park. This is the most fucking boring class. And that was the first time I got the F bomb. But yeah, seriously, the accelerated reading program did help me a lot because it got me out of classes that I didn't really want to be on. Um, I got to read Romeo, Juliet, and stuff like that at a very young age. So the accelerated reading program was still around in the 90s, but they stopped, like, I believe in the mid 90s or late 90s when they stopped.
Late 90s.
So I got lucky when they gave it to me in the early mid 90s because I was tipping grades beyond what I was reading and writing.
That's how we ended up with.
So
That's how I ended up conning out more pizza because I would use my points for more free pizza. I did both book it and accelerator reader.
yeah, me too. I got all the free pizza.
I don't think
All
I
of
paid
it.
for
More
pizza.
than my classmate. My classmate was fucking jealous. I
Oh,
walk home with maybe 20 boxes of pizza.
yeah. I don't think I paid for a pizza in the late 80s, early 90s.
Yeah, my mom will be paying for the pizza, not me. But
Well,
I got all the free pizza though,
oh,
for those points and everything.
oh,
Yeah, but it's not free now because, you know, I'm older and I gotta pay for it. I'm sorry, how much is it? What?
damn jobs and adulting.
Yeah,
Damn you,
$20
adulting.
for pizza, though. That.
I was lied to. I was told I could eat macaroni and cheese at any time of the day, anytime I wanted to. They didn't tell me about bills, man. I
They
signed
didn't
up.
tell us about a lot of things. Those are a lot of things we wish we knew. I mean, what the whole point of education anyway? If you're not gonna tell us what we need to know to survive, what the fuck is wrong with y'all, government? Uh, seriously. But Brandy, we're ranting quite a bit. I'm sure you have some input on that.
Well, when it comes to yeah, when it comes to adulting, it's like I like the being the grown up part. I just don't like all the bills that come with it. It's like I like being able to, like, you know what? If I want ice cream for dinner, I'm gonna freaking have ice cream for dinner. Like, so I was just like that aspect of
Okay, that
adulting. The
a
fun
fair
stuff.
point.
Yeah,
You know
no,
what?
not the
We
other
can
stuff.
have any ice cream for dinner, ice cream for breakfast. Hell, I'll get a cold pizza for breakfast. I don't care.
Yes.
Yeah, it's that stupid going to work, getting up, and leaving the comfort of your bed and having to go to a place that sucks for 8 hours a day. That part I would gladly give back.
Or even 12 hours a day, depending on what job you're working at.
Don't remind me. 16-hour days are coming. Oh,
Oh boy, yeah, no, that's gonna drive us crazy. But yeah, I would say that the 90s definitely gave us everything, and then it gave us nothing at the same time because we did not learn a damn fucking thing from the 90s. They did not tell us that we could not eat mac and cheese on any time of the day like what Yanni said. And you did not tell me how much pizza costs now. If you had told me how much pizza costs now, and by the time you change to go back in the 90th day, I know you're getting all the free pizza right now with all these points for the bucket program or whatever, but honey, you're about to pay $30, $40, $50 for pizza.
ain't worth it, Marcos.
Who the fuck are you?
I'm you.
That's the 90s. We learned Stranger Danger in the 90s.
No.
That's one of my favorite memes now. Is growing up, we're told not to get in cars with strangers. And we're also told not to talk to strangers on the internet. Now we use the internet
So we
to
can't talk to our pizza shop.
get in the car with a stranger.
Yeah, there's no way we're gonna talk to our pizza shop. And I would be freaked out if our pizza shop went back to the 90s and told myself what was gonna happen.
I'd fight myself. Somebody had some
You know,
issues when they were a teenager, okay? Because I wasn't
what?
because I we didn't know autism.
Please explain why
I
you
had a
about yourself.
had a lot of anger issues from being bullied and being
Ah,
autistic. And that's the whole thing, being autistic and not understanding why I couldn't sit in a fucking classroom for what, 2 hours at a time. And every
depending
teacher,
on the class, like, yeah.
this is turning into a therapy session. Every teacher I had from, I'm not even joking, from first to 12th grade, they all said the same thing. He knows this. He's bored. That's why he acts up in class. He's bored. He knows this crap. And
I'm sorry, I was laughing at the part when you said turning to a therapy session. I was not laughing at everything
it
else. I
is,
want to be clear about
in a
that.
way, it kind of is too. We should do that. We should do that one day. Just go live stream. We'll just do a
A
big therapy.
horror therapy podcast. Okay.
Don't put that past some of my friends.
Hey, you know what? We might as well start a horror therapy podcast at this point. The nun brought up a lot of emotional moments for us.
Well, because I mean, horror, let's be honest. Brandy, you and I both have been on the record saying it. Horror was kind of our babysitter in certain ways. I mean,
Yeah.
it was the way I learned how to read. Well, I guess fantasy and horror was how I learned how to read.
I'm working on that too.
You
Asshole.
well, I mean, it's we got to go home, and no matter how shitty of a day we had, no matter how many, people picked on us and made us feel like a
That's fair.
shit, we'd go home, turn on a horror movie, and just fucking forget everything for 2 or 3 hours.
Yeah.
So that's the beauty. That's the beauty of horror right there.
Yeah, that's the beauty of non-Victorian for me too. Afraid of the Dark and Goosebumps and then later on The Crow and all these other movies. They were pretty much my babysitter.
I will
They were pretty much
I
the
will be
reason
on the
why I kept
record.
going.
I will be
I
on
was
the
ready
record.
to fight those assholes in school,
I watched
picking on me at dodgeball.
I watched Monster Vision so much when I was a kid, when it was on TNT. I consider Joe Bob Briggs my second father.
He might be your dad. I mean, he probably met your mom somewhere along the way. I'm just saying, he
No,
might be your dad.
my dad, no, my mother's already told me my dad was supposed to be Magnum TA.
All right, fair enough.
Yeah, but no, horror, no matter what decade it comes from, just basically it could be considered just like pure entertainment for a lot of people, which is perfectly fine. But in a lot of ways, just like, yeah, horror pretty much it saved me. Like it really did. Like, and
Thank
yeah,
you. Thank
yeah,
you.
this it's just like it's just, yeah, it is turning into a therapy session. I guess I just bring that out in people. I don't know, but
Do it. I'm all for it now.
yeah, but it's just like, yeah.
Fun fact, I was actually studying in college to become a psychologist before I got back. So I do bring that out and people just talk to me and I'm like, no, I can't hear you, but I'm gonna let you talk.
I'll let you get it all
I
out.
have close caption right here. So I understand everybody right here.
Yeah, but just like horror is just, it's many different things to many different people, and just like a lot of it is like horror, like a lot of people grew up with it. It's their comfort blanket, it's their security. It saves them in just so many ways. It teaches them that, especially that you're a lot stronger than you think that you are. That's what horror like does, I feel, for a lot of people.
Yeah, I think David Lynch pretty much hit it right on the point. The great late David Lynch. Um, he said it's definitely okay to be weird. Honestly, I agree with him because with the way things are right now, I don't understand why America's trying to force us not to be weird. When we were always weird.
because
It's
weird
like you
scares
forgot what weird been, what weird it's like, you know? It's like you forgot somewhere along the way.
no, it's not that. It's weird forces you to look inside yourself and to see what kind of person you really are. That's why a lot of people, even to this day, they'll put you down for being passionate about something, and they'll put you down for being um just your authentic
About
self
the interest
because
and
they're
whatnot, yeah.
scared. Think about this. They're scared to be themselves. Every person who jumps on the internet with this, anonymous bullshit and just tears
Or
people down
the
because
white apple melt bullshit, yeah.
they're scared of themselves. That's what it is because they're so fucking mediocre in their life. They're scared of themselves and they're scared to look into the mirror and go, what the fuck isn't working? And
Yeah, the
there is
whole white
nothing.
apple melt bullshit, it's secretly being homo, a lot of
No, I don't. Please
maybe
don't
wanting
do
to be
that.
gay.
Don't do that because
That's one theory, but yeah, because
that to me,
that's a theory, and we talked about that. People
yeah,
are afraid to come out with a sexuality, and people are afraid to come out and be themselves, and that's still a thing today.
yeah, it is. It is. But my whole thing with the whole, these group of people are secretly gay, it kind of hurts our community in a way. Um,
That is true, it does,
it,
and
it
that's
does it
why
does hurt our
we're
community
trying to change that narrative every
because
day.
here's the other
Because
thing.
yeah,
Well, here's the other thing. Evil is a learned behavior. First of all, I don't believe anybody's born evil, but evil is a learned
thank
behavior.
you.
And we got to stop excusing people for being evil. We just got to do it. Like oh, he's closetly gay. He's you know closetly this. He's scared of that. No, they're evil, and we got to stop. And I think that's another thing that horror kind of taught us all is stop bullshitting around when it comes to people. Identify evil when it is evil. Don't make a damn excuse for it. I don't care that they came from the old school or 15 years ago they were a completely different person. Well, they're evil
Or
now.
the local, yeah.
Yeah.
Let's that's kind of like I said, I think that's another thing that horror really taught us is if you're going to identify it, call it out. Don't don't fuck around.
Work through the feeling, bro. Don't just stuff it down. And that's what I learned. Every time I see somebody post about this white album or book about a white guy, and I'm like, what if they're just still working on the feeling? They don't know what it is yet that they're trying to identify. So I think if you could explore through that and unlearn that bullshit that the secretly gay crap,
Yeah.
maybe help them get to that point where mental health is accessible and available, then help them realize it's okay to be weird, it's okay to be gay, it's okay to be whatever you're dealing with at the time.
Well,
And
I think that's the other
weird does that for us.
that's the other problem. We've created such a culture of fear. Is people that's why people are scared to be themselves now. Is we've created this culture of fear. I don't know how to fix it, but I can see the problem. And it's going to take a lot of people to fix the problem.
Yeah.
And
Mhm.
Yeah.
that's why John Waters is my hero. Because even
John
at a young
Waters,
age,
damn, yeah.
John Waters in the age where it was definitely even more than today socially not acceptable to be gay was like, look, motherfuckers, I'm here.
Yeah.
And
Yeah. Like I think it's just gonna take more people like that, no matter no matter whether you have a gigantic platform or you're just getting started or you're building up towards that. It's never too late to just be like, "Hey, look, I'm me. Like I'm out here, and if you don't like what you have to see, then you can just move along because I'm not going to water myself down for your comfort."
Well, I also look at it this
Right.
way. A thing I like about current culture is who thrives on TikTok and who thrives on YouTube. People that are unapologetically themselves.
Hmm.
That's who thrive. That's why people shit on TikTok.
Even if the really bad people on TikTok,
Yeah,
YouTube, like
well,
Logan Paul.
but they're still themselves. They might be evil motherfuckers, but they're themselves, and they're not afraid to be themselves. And I think a lot of people lack that, and we don't get them at a young enough age to tell them, hey, it's all right if you don't think like everybody else and you don't act like it. Because that's let's just be honest, that's really what a lot of this legislation, and I know we're getting way too far into the politics here, but I I believe, this is just my belief, that that's what they really want with a lot of the shit we're seeing now is they just want conformity.
But it's
I
impossible. Not in a country like that.
conformity in their beliefs. And that's why they want to create a culture of fear for you to, oh, well, if your kid acts a certain way at school, they could be kicked out of school. If your kid reads a certain book, we'll throw you in jail for it. And a lot of those books, if you see the lists, a lot of those books are telling you it's okay, especially when you're 13, 14, 15. It's okay that you feel funny about somebody, about anybody, to be honest with you. It's okay that's natural. And
Yeah.
that's what bothers me about conformity. Conformity is the most disgusting form of brainwashing ever, and we found out what conformity can do to you on a grand
That's what
scale.
the Nani was about, what going against the conformity.
Yeah.
Oh, just, hey, no, we're not going to conform. No, we're going to have Nana now come out with that show. We're going to have Kurt Cobain take fuck you to corporate media. We're going to have all the shit that happened in the 90s. And it's going to happen, whether you like it or not. We are full and honey. We're going to go crazy, man.
Well,
But
yeah,
that's what the 90s. And you know what? It worked. It worked. Because it got us to wake up a little bit. Until somewhat
we need another
stabilize
grunge
our
period.
country, but not perfect. Yeah.
I think we need another grunge period in this country.
Thank you. I was just about to say that. With what Terrifier is doing right now and Ice Nine Kill, you know what? Please, that's grand right there. Uh,
Yeah, just
Even though I do not agree with what Damien Leon is doing
yeah, just like keep making
politically.
yeah, keep making those kinds of just like films and keep putting out like that kind of art and just like that kind of music. It doesn't necessarily have to be like raw or like against the establishment. It could just be something like Sleep Token, for instance, is a band that I really, really love. And
Okay, that's a good one.
they are just they're themselves. They've got their like thing that they do. Some people call it a gimmick, but they're real with what they put out there musically. Probably one of the most real bands that I could think of just that I've listened to in a very long time. So we just need just more of just like real and authentic, however they choose to present themselves.
I agree 100%.
Well, hold my weed because later you're gonna see some review on authentic pretty soon. That's all I'm gonna say. Spoiler alert. It's not a prediction. It's a spoiler. It's going to happen. Ah, So the 90s, we talked a lot about the 90s, obviously. And somehow it turned to a horror therapy doctor. You know what? We're going to create a brand new podcast called Horror Therapy Podcast. We're going to bring people from the horror community and we'll be like, go ahead, have a good cry. It's okay. This is a safe space. You know what? That's a really good fucking idea. But we need a certified doctor, though. I'll call my therapist. She's great. She's a trans woman. She likes horror. She'll do it.
Let's go get Dr. K. Apparently, that's the one you go to or the internet. It's like, yeah.
Oh, no. But how about Dr. Jason from the House of a Thousand Corpses? He would be a great therapist for us. Yeah.
You don't need to go out and get that flesh gel or whatever it is, the gel to make the bodies, and
Yeah.
you just put them on a pedestal and start stabbing.
Yeah.
That's therapy.
You know, it's a lot of fun as a niner. And that brings me to that question. What was your favorite year of this entire niner? What's your favorite year of the niner? Movie-wise, anything niner related? 91, 92, 93, what was your favorite year?
I'm probably gonna have to go I'm probably going to have to go 2 years, 1995, because that's when I first saw it's the very first rated R movie I ever saw in theaters, Seven. So that's a year that left just like a
Right,
big
that's a popular one.
imprint on me. And also just in a sense 1999, because that's when the Blair Witch Project came out, and I credit that with just my love for found footage documentary style horror, just like to this day. If I hadn't seen the Blair Witch, I don't think that I would have loved found footage documentary
So
style.
1995 and 1999 will be your favorite 2 years?
Yes, those 2 years.
For me, it'll be 94, 95, 96, and 7, and 99. So those were
almost all the
probably good for
90s.
me.
Yeah, your favorite years of the 90s were 1990 to 1999.
Yeah, but these are like specifically really good year for me because I got to see some really cool stuff. I mean, I got to see The Crow as a kid in a movie theater with my mother.
Oh.
And you have no idea how much of a cultural impact it had on everybody in 1994. Mom talking about Kurt Cobain that year. I did not know who Kurt Cobain was other than the music that I was listening to, but when I found out a couple years later, I was like, okay, so that's Kurt Cobain. Wow. Reading the book and everything that came out, the biography and all that, I was just really understanding why 1994 was a good and bad year for me because it brought a lot of family members together, like cousin, brother, sister, my mom, me. We will go to The Crow, to Kurt Cobain passed away and all that stuff, and that was a really interesting year from so now you fast forward to 95. Pretty good shit, really good shit. Like what you say right there with that movie that you just talked about in 95. That one right there, brand new, that was a good one. And then 1999, 98, and 92. Especially with Green, obviously. And I'm like, if that's me in high school when I go in the early 2000s, I swear to God, I'm gonna go stab somebody. I didn't say that in front of my mom. And it was so funny because I was like watching Scream. I'm like, I really hope that's not my high school in about 5 years from now. Please, please don't send me to that kind of high school. I hate those kind of people. The puppy and all that. So really, those are my years. Yanni, got a good answer for what's your favorite year under 90?
Probably 99. I mean, yeah.
Oh, okay.
Blair Witch came out. I think but I Know What You Did Last Summer came out in 98. I think
That's why I say 98.
98 too. So yeah, maybe 98 and 99.
Yeah, couldn't even done it, but yeah.
Well, still 99 is always going to be my favorite year because that's the year I got the hell out of high school. Ran and come back.
That whole period is where I was starting to get ready for high school. I'm getting out of middle school and going to high school. And I'm begging my mother, please do not send me to that type of high school. Because if I see them coming preppy and asshole, I'm going to stab somebody like Ghostface. I was an angry kid.
And
I was getting tired of being bullied at die squad and all that crap.
and I was the last graduating class before Columbine. So before high school really changed, because I graduated
Yeah, I
in
remember.
January.
Yeah.
I
That
graduated
affected
in
everybody.
January of 99. So I literally was the last graduating class before Columbine.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
know.
we were told to stay home because of that. Damn. 99 fucked up. Anyway,
Yet
so
all
we're
three
gonna
was
wrap
mentioned.
this up with the future. Yeah. We'll be right back. Don't go anywhere.
Where's my bro? My twin brother Mickey.
Holly, this is where you told them to meet us, right?
Yeah. They know exactly where we are.
Hey! Remember me?
We're literally out in the middle of nowhere.
Honestly, this place isn't even that scary. I think the people have hyped this place up too much.
That's disgusting.
Welcome back. So again, I'm here with my co-host. Apparently, we've been talking about starting a horror therapy podcast. You know what? Tell us in the comment section below if you want to hear about horror therapy podcast. We'll make it happen.
It'll be
Maybe
us.
we'll bring Andy as another co-host. But we're here with Brandy at the Retro Horror School. We've been just talking about the 70, 80, and 90 and the influencers, and apparently getting a little bit emotional and therapy. No, I'm gonna call my therapist after this. Having day all of it, talking about all of that, the future of horror. Do you think the future of horror can go hand based on the influences and the inspiration from the 70s, 80s, and 90s?
I definitely think so. I think the future horror is in very good hands. Like, I've seen so much good horror come out from 2020 on, and people know this about me. It's just like, if I'm going to see a newer horror film, it's something that's going to have to really, really spark my interest. And there have been a lot of good horror movies since 2020 that have really sparked my interest. Now, as far as just like if it's in good hands as far as narratively and story wise, I think yes, absolutely. You got studios like you got all sorts of studios from independent ones. Yeah, like from independent ones like A24 to bigger studios doing horror. So horror, I think, is definitely still in good hands. Now, as far as just like big names that have come out, just like as far as icon wise, not a whole lot yet, but I am very optimistic that we will be getting us even more horror icons that are going to like make their stamp and make their mark.
Well, Melissa Barrera would definitely be one very, very popular horror icon. What you did on the Green franchise, the last two movies was good. Excellent. She's the daughter of a serial killer. Did I fuck with her? And what you did on Abigail was even better. And honestly, Abigail is pretty much a retelling of Dracula's daughter at this point. And you got all these other couple other movies, independent movies that you just got it finish wrapping up with. She's doing some really good stuff. So I think you're gonna call her the next final queen of the next decade. But yeah, I would say she would definitely be one of the icons for the 2020. And you got Jordan Peele and Ryan Cole talking
Coogler.
about that then. The
Ryan
guy
Coogler.
who directed Dinner.
Yeah, Ryan
thank you.
Coogler.
Thank you. So you got both of them. I would say these two will be the most iconic black horror filmmaker of the 2020. You got movies like Nope, Get Out, uh, Dinner. I mean, you got those kinds of movies, and these guys are going to be iconic in so many ways that you would never ever find another film like that or another filmmaker like that ever again. So, hands down, these two guys are going to lead us into the next decade. Other icons, I'm not sure who else I can think of, but there's a couple more that I would like to say, but I can't remember the name off the top of my head. What do y'all think? Who do you think will lead us into the next decade throughout the 2020?
I'm very excited to see what more Osgood Perkins has in store. So
Thank you. I was gonna
for
mention that
us.
one.
So he's basically, his dad was horror royalty, of course, Anthony Perkins, like in Psycho. So yeah, he's come out with a lot of Osgood has come out with a lot of interesting films, and I'm very curious to see like where he goes from there, because I think he's just gonna bring us just more weird, wild stuff.
The talk about him doing Psycho, so that'd be kind of cool.
Yeah.
I would like to see a retelling of Psycho through his son's perspective and see how it goes. You should talk a lot about the queer element because, his father was part of all of that. So it will be interesting to see that from his son. It would be really cool. Carry on the legacy. Yanni, what about you? Any filmmaker, actor, or actress that might lead us into the 2020?
How about Ari Aster? I mean, you got Hereditary and Midsummer already under his belt. I think he could definitely come up with a whole, I think, psychological horror for him and folk horror.
Oh my gosh.
He could run.
A24 will be backing him the whole way.
I love Ari Aster.
Yes.
And Robert Eggers. That one just popped in my head. Robert Eggers.
That's another one.
The Lighthouse.
Oh my gosh.
The Lighthouse is just, if you, I will tell people right now, I don't care if you've seen The Witch or not. The Lighthouse. If you have not seen The Lighthouse, stop what you're doing right now. Put this thing on pause and go watch The Lighthouse. That's slowly climbing up to my greatest movies of all time.
I own it, by the way, The Lighthouse. William Dafoe and Robert Pattinson did a really good job in that one. Yeah. Robert Pattinson was completely nothing on that one. He was wow.
Here,
that's a real commitment right there. Okay,
I'll give you another name, because I think she is going to bring in a lot of the themes that you're going to see in the next few years, at least in my opinion, like paranoia, gaslighting, mind control, basically. Chloe Kuno. Watcher was
why is that?
Watcher was phenomenal, and is it Chloe or Chloe? Because I know a lot of people pronounce that name differently.
Right.
I think it's Chloe. I'm not sure.
Yeah, but I'll say this: I think Chloe is onto something, especially with a lot of the themes that I was talking about today. That I think is going to be big in the next few years, and she could explode. Let's put it that way.
I think that we're going to see a lot of queer and trans and non-binary filmmakers come out in the horror community more and more. Especially when we see things like Lonely we're gonna see more of that. And we're stepping up and saying, hey, we're not going anywhere.
Well, that's
We're
that's
gonna
kind of
have
the
a
whole thing,
revolution.
isn't it? But that's kind of the whole thing. It's like the harder the right tries to erase LGBT people, the harder we're going to go to sit there and go, no, motherfucker, we ain't going nowhere.
Yeah. Yeah, it's the it's people have called it the extinction burst. It's basically you're seeing just like this whole just like it seems like this horrible evil crap is now just like everywhere and just in your face like all the time. But it's just
Right.
it's pretty much almost like the last, I guess, death rattle as they call it before it that finally just goes away. And that's what I'm hoping for. We're always gonna have evil, horrible, hateful
Yeah.
people. It's just like no, but it needs to get to the point, just like you mentioned, Yanni, where we're just like, no, we're not gonna let you get away with it. We're gonna call you for what you are. We're not going to let you get away with stuff, and we're gonna have a backbone. We're gonna stand up, and we're just gonna.
Yeah, we have the technology, we have the internet for that, we have all of that. We have the ability to stop it now.
Absolutely.
I think that is the last time vacuum will ever go
Well,
up.
no, don't ever say this is the last time they'll take over because it always goes in cycles.
Yes,
And
it does.
maybe it's the last time in
Okay,
our
that's true.
lifetime,
Yeah.
but it won't be the last time, period.
No, because we never learned from history. Like,
No. Well, I mean, now we're not even teaching it anymore, so you know.
no.
That's kind of yeah, but
Yeah,
yeah, I think social media is going to help because I've even seen, you know, we have communities now like on Blue Sky, and we have communities, you know, even on Substack that, you know, it's and because we're
well,
going through
Blue
this,
Sky is still kind of catching up. They're not really
you
responding to
know,
my
but
post, though.
what I'm saying is, and I'm in the middle of one of these right now. An attack on one is an attack on all. And I've seen that mentality, especially in our community.
Right.
And I love it. I love the fact that we are now, you know, yes, we have a lot of problems within the LGBT plus community. We have a lot of problems. We have to admit that. We have a lot of problems. But at the same time, we've also started to adopt an attack on one is an attack on all. And that's where we need to go. We need to get rid of the bad elements out of the community, obviously. But I mean, I know there will always be bad elements in every community whatsoever, but I think we work the hardest to get the bad actors out of our community. And I'm loving what I'm seeing out of us. And maybe
And
we
the
don't,
punk community and the horror community, they're all doing the same thing at this point.
we won't have the numbers on Twitter. We won't have the numbers on Meta, but I think if we find our communities and we grow our communities from the inside, get rid of some of the bad actors, we'll be okay. I think that's
Yeah.
the whole, because
I mean, mutual helped a lot.
well, here's the
So,
thing, and yes, I will go way deep in the weeds in politics one more time. Here's the thing about populist movements. They're a candle at both ends. They always burn out. Now, what they do while they're burning out, you know, unfortunately, we never figured, you know, we never figure out how to stop that. But the good news is it does always stop. It is very cyclical, and I think we'll get to another point in this country because we have now lived through basically, I want to say it, so I'm going to say it. We've lived through two fascist regimes. We survived Reagan, and we're going to survive Trump because.
what about Nixon? I mean, technically, that's the third fastest wingman, right?
Who?
Nixon, Richard Nixon.
Well, I wasn't born. I wasn't alive.
That was the third one.
Yeah,
But,
I wasn't alive during Richard Nixon. I was only alive during Reagan. Uh,
I know, but I'm just saying that. That's the third
what I'm
one.
saying is me, you, and Brandy here. We've survived Reagan. we survived, and we're going to survive Trump. Because let's be honest, they're starting to turn on each other as we speak.
Yep.
And that's always the funniest and the best thing about a populistic movement is eventually.
Him and the popcorn and the weed.
Yeah. I mean, this
That's
is
a good though.
I remember The Newsroom. The show The Newsroom.
Oh, that was a good TV show, but holy shit.
And Jeff Daniels, his character said it the best. What these people are is the STS of the 1960s. It started out because this all started out like in 2008 with the Tea Party, which was legitimately a good thing because the way he put it was perfect. It was a bunch of pissed off people who were tired of everything getting more expensive and our wages staying the same. And then it got co-opted. Yep. And unfortunately, when it got co-opted,
back to how the foundation, yeah.
But that was kind of like the STS of the late 60s. Was originally it was get us the fuck out of Vietnam. That's what the STS stood for. Was listen, Vietnam is a mistake. We got to get the hell out. And then the Yippies did basically what MAGA did, pre-MAGA did to the Tea Party. They started co-opting it. And what was it? It was giving the finger to everybody over 35. It was dropping out, getting high, trying to levitate the Pentagon. And that's what the left movement has been defined ever since. And now that's exactly what you're going to see happen to the right is they're going to be defined by ICE raids. They're going to be defined for the next 50, 60 years.
And they're going to be defined by the Epstein file,
Epstein,
that Donald died, and a few other things.
Yeah, they'll be defined by the fact that they turned a blind eye to Epstein. They could have
got a truth.
Yeah,
they want the truth. They were like,
they'll be defined by their
give us the truth. That's what they're doing. Yeah,
and that's what I'm saying. They'll be defined by their bigotry. They'll be defined by their racism. They'll be defined for that for the next 40 to 60 years.
Yeah, history should not treat
and that's a bad thing for them. And a good thing for us.
Yeah, history should not treat them at all.
No, it shouldn't. And
yeah, look at the Confederate army. You know what we did to them? They all died.
Well, Sherman didn't go far enough.
And I can say we put them back.
I'm the only one,
but we put them back.
I'm the only one of the podcast that can say that. I live in the South. Sherman didn't go far enough.
Well, depending on the map,
the Nazi dominate.
Well, depending on the maps, Missouri's either in the Midwest or the South. It's just like it depends on who's drawing the map. But yeah, it's just
the majority. Well, how do I explain that nicely about majority? Majority is kind of the Mississippi of the Midwest. So that's your data version.
You're
but
not
you got
gonna...
St. Louis, so you got a little bit of that Chicago vibe going on.
Yeah.
So that's a complicated problem with majority.
Yeah, like I said, you're not gonna hurt my feelings. Just like bash Missouri all you want. I don't care. It's not like I like it.
I used to live in Missouri. I'm a bachelor. I'm trying to find the right word for it.
Yeah. No, you're not gonna hurt my feelings, whatever you say about it. So.
Oh no! I won't. But Missouri is definitely like the Mississippi, the Chicago, and the Atlanta, Georgia, are missing one, Georgia, and that's what's so complicated about Missouri because it's the gateway to everything. It's the gateway to the Midwest, it's the gateway to the West, it's the gateway to the South, it's the gateway to the Deep South. And so it's a gateway to all of that.
Yep, we're just smack dab in the middle of everything. That's just where that's us.
Yeah, and that's what's so complicated about Missouri because I got a really dark history. And it had some good stuff, but mostly a dark history.
Yeah.
Especially on St. Louis.
Yeah. Kansas City's not too bad either. No. They're pretty cool. It's a pretty cool city. No.
But Kansas City is basically the Salt Lake City if you're gonna do outdoor deep pump. But that's my comparison so far. It's been a long time since I've been in Missouri, though. I'm pretty sure it's changed a lot. Having said that, the future of horror can go hand. Okay. Hopefully. Because I've been debating this on my other podcast and I'm a little bit scared right now. So, that's that. Now let's get into roundtable interesting question. Your top 5 of each decade. Top 5 for the 70s, top 5 for the 80s, top 5 for the 90s. Good luck. You remember, you're not going to win. You're going to lose either way. Just like what John Kramer said and Doug. So, enjoy the torture.
Oh my gosh. It's okay.
Oh,
my
man,
top.
I wish I had that good dog voice. I would have done that right there.
My tops are gonna change just like depending on like day to day because some days I'm gonna be like, oh, I really like this, and then other days I'm gonna be like, oh, like, but I really like these too. So my tops as of today, which is August 4th, 2025. Okay. This my favorite 70s film would probably have to be Invasion of the Body Snatchers.
That's it would. I don't care.
1978. My favorite 80s film. Oh God, this is not fair. Okay, no, actually, it's actually very easy. It's This Will Never Change. John Carpenter's The Thing, which came out in 1982. That's my favorite 80s film. My favorite 90s film is going to have to be for Seven, which came out in 1995. And my favorite 2000s. So we're going up to 2000s. That's what we did. Oh man.
No, we're not gonna enter the 2000s, but okay.
Okay, I'm just gonna say it like as a bonus answer, an honorable mention. My favorite 2000s horror film would probably
Wow.
probably have to be a tie between 28 Days Later and Saw, the first one.
Oh,
You see that?
Yeah, but of course, that's just like one each though. You're not gonna give a top 5. Fine. Yanni, go.
Yeah, well, that's what I thought that you meant. Just like one from like each of like the 5 like decades.
No, this 5 movies each decade.
We could do one from each decade. That's fine.
One from each decade, fine too.
All right, let's
go
see.
ahead, Yanni.
70s, it's I Spit on Your Grave. I enjoy that movie. I can't help it. 80s, it's my favorite horror.
Very controversial.
Yeah, well, the 80s is my favorite horror movie of all time. Day of the Dead.
Oh, that's a good one.
It's
George Romero.
Yeah, George Romero. Yeah.
George Romero film. Oh,
Day of the Dead. 90s. It's got to be, oh geez, because there's a lot of good stuff in the 90s. You know what? I'll say it. I Know What You Did Last Summer. I hate to admit it. That's kind of my guilty. If we had a guilty pleasure horror movie, that would
guilty
be
pleasure.
You Know What You Did Last
No
Summer.
what? I'll give you another bonus. Go ahead and pick a guilty pleasure binder. But before we do that, Yanni, you're done with your love?
Oh, in 2000, I'm kind of with Brandy. It's 28 Days Later, Saw, but I'm also throwing in Hostel.
Yeah.
Whoa. Triple threat, 3-way card. Okay.
I do love Hostel. But I love Taboo. I'll say this. I love Taboo movies. And here's another thing I hope happens in the future.
I mean, the audition is close enough to Taboo at that dominator from Japan.
Here's what I hope. This is one of my hopes for future of horror. I want more female-led Taboo movies. I want more.
I'll be right back. I'm still filming that female-led Taboo movie right now.
I want more women cannibals, and to get out there and I want to see more movies where the women are just as sick, just as twisted as men are.
Are you saying you want to see a Hannibal Lecter woman?
Yes, I would like to see a female Hannibal Lecter.
Well, a lot of people are going to hate us in the horror community because I might have something to do with that. I'm not saying anymore, but let's just say I've been talking to a 2-year-old about that idea.
But I just
I'm
want.
retelling of Hannibal
But I do. But I do. I want
from
to
a
see.
female perspective.
I want. I want more women to be as twisted and as sick as men. I want that. I want to see it because I think it is, in a way, if you look at it through a societal lens, it's the ultimate taboo. It's not just that you have a cannibal, you have a woman that's a cannibal. And the outcry from society, if that really goes mainstream, like if we had a female Hannibal Lecter in a mainstream movie, could you imagine what these crybabies would do? They scream and cuss over the
I
skin
know exactly
color
what they were going
of
to
a
do.
fucking mermaid. Imagine what they would do if we had more female serial killers, more female occult leaders. They would shit their pants. And I'm here for it.
I'm going to cast Brandy in one of those movies. Brandy, you don't mind?
No, I don't mind at all.
All right, good luck killing people. I got a couple questions for you. That's a clip right there. That's your clip.
But yeah, to answer the guilty pleasure question, like I'm not going to because of just this simple fact. I don't believe that anything should be a guilty pleasure, like at all. It's just like, so you should be able to watch whatever the heck you want and not be embarrassed by it in the freaking slightest. Because I've always I struck the words guilty pleasure from my vocabulary, and I'm looking to strike it from a lot of people's vocabulary.
Yeah, I don't know why it's not vocabulary.
I'll say it. You know what one of my favorite non-horror movies is? Mannequin.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
That's a good one from the
It's a cute
80s.
little 80s film.
It is. It's one of the few rom-coms I can actually stand.
My best friend, the vampire. That's a guilty pleasure for me.
You don't say guilty pleasure. It's
Right.
a good movie. There.
Thank you. I could probably get back to my best friend, the vampire. I'll just watch the whole movie. My girlfriend will be banking me. Go.
Okay. This is getting awkward.
So I would say that for me, my top 5, one from each decade, this time. Because honestly, it was not a bad idea when we pick out 5 from each decade, but it might be a little bit too long. The Definitely, obviously, the Texas Chainsaw Massacre, but I want to add a tie to that one. Okay, out of it definitely was a good one. I bet on your grave as well, so very controversial. And the reason why I brought that up is because I want to understand why would they make a film like this. And even though I only watched it once and I couldn't watch it again after that, it would still hold up right on the same level as the Texas Chainsaw Massacre. And so, yeah, I would say it will be a tie for the Definitely for that one. And Invasion of the Body Snatcher was another one, by the way. So thank you for that one. So it's a 3-way tie for me. But yeah, the 80s, yeah, so many great choices from the 80s. Fuck it. I'll go with 3-way tie again. Gremlin, The Goonies, They Live.
Nice.
That was a good one. So that's a 3-way tie for me. The 90s, fuck me. I love the 90s. Believe me, I have a hard time choosing. But yeah, Blair Witch Project is definitely on that list. Scream is on that list. Silence of the Lamb and Bram Stoker's Dracula. So it's a fatal 4-way for me. So those are 4. And then finally, for bonus question, the 2000, definitely will have to do the battle, the audition, because I was Japanese warrior. I did find a really good job. And of course, there was just one other movie I'm trying to remember the name of that came out in 2000. It's a little cute little gateway warrior kid film, but it's funny. And I like it. It's called The Little Vampire. The good one. And really funny, very cozy. I like that one. And of course, I got a bonus for y'all. Idle Hand.
Idle
Idle
Hands.
fucking hand. It's on all of the. Yeah, Yanni, what's up?
Said Idle Hands was really good.
Yeah, really good. I like it. Even though it was just kind of corny or whatever, but it was so funny on so many levels that you could get high about some kind of it and just basically laugh your ass off. So that's technically a second go-to pleasure, but we don't use that word go-to pleasure. Brandy, can you tell people where they can find you?
All right. If you want to know where to find me, you can find me on Instagram and Threads at Terrific Lady. You can find me on YouTube at The Terrific Lady. You'll have to search for The Terrific Lady.
All in the video description below.
So, yes.
Yes, go support her on Ko-fi. She's got some really great stuff. I haven't got a chance to subscribe yet, but I do follow her Ko-fi. And I will get to doing that pretty soon after my surgery and all that. So it's actually really good work that you're doing, by the way, the retro horror school. I love what you're doing over there on YouTube. It's great stuff.
Thank you.
So you have just watched a really special episode. Not really special, but it's still special to us anyway, because we added a little bit of therapy of the best of the 70s, 80s, and 90s horror. Maybe the word. I don't know about the word, but that might be a part two. Oh, having said that, I am Elko the Horror Nerd, signing off with the lovely co-host Yanni. Peace out. Okay. We will see you next time. Until then, enjoy the fucking green.